All right, Lindsey, we want to start here. We're going to get your NBA expertise. We talked about how many years you play in the league? 17?
17.
Yeah, 7. Look at that. I had the number on the top of my head.
Right,
and I'm just going to, full disclosure, I met Lindsey the day he was drafted in the NBA. I've known Lindsey from day one. Lindsey, you remember that, right?
Yes.
I was a columnist in Detroit.
Yes. This is truly a day one friendship.
No doubt.
When people say day ones, this is a true
day one. That's when I met him, was the day he was drafted by the Pistons. But Rob G, we want you to jump in and set the scene for LeBron James, and this would be great for Lindsey to talk about as well, because Lindsey's in that whole coaching and AAU and all that, and just where these kids are. And so all of a sudden, Bronny goes from, is he going to declare for the draft and all this, and he's going to be a first-round pick, to he was dropped today by ESPN when we talk about their draft board. So, Rob G, explain what happened.
Well, you hit the nail right on the head there, Rob Parker. So, Bronny James, who has been the talk of NBA draft circles for, 5 or 6 years now, not because he's a great prospect or anything, but because LeBron James has made it abundantly clear that one of his goals is to play an NBA season with his son, which has led to some say that, LeBron has a player option next season. He could conceivably, use that player option to go wherever Bronny gets drafted. Well, ESPN, because Bronny is not having a great season, he's averaging 5-2-2 on 37% shooting for a underwhelming USC basketball program.
And this team's bad.
Team's terrible.
Yep.
And as a result, he has been dropped off their latest mock draft for 2024, which prompted LeBron James, in a since-deleted tweet, I think he figured all the blowback was not working out for him, to put out, quote, this is LeBron James, "Can y'all please just let the kid be a kid and enjoy college basketball? The work and results will ultimately do the talking no matter what he decides to do. If you don't know, he doesn't care what a mock draft says. He just works, earned, not given," which is a far cry, Rob, from what LeBron James said as recently as last month following a Lakers loss to the Memphis Grizzlies.
Now listen up, Lindsey, closely.
When he said in the locker room with media members standing all around, quote, "Bronny could play for us right now. Easy."
I remember.
Okay.
I heard that.
And here we go, Lindsey. I'm just going to say, it's the ultimate hypocrisy from LeBron. It's okay to talk about, you remember earlier in the year, too, he talked about he could play in the NBA right now. He's better than 75% of the guys in the league or something of that ilk. And then he's talking about Bronny just recently. And now that he's not on a mock draft, leave the kids alone and don't put them in. Just let them play. You can't have it both ways. When you interject Bronny into the conversation and saying he's better than most guys in the league and he could play for the Lakers right now, you can't ask people to back off when he's dropped from the mock draft. And Lindsey, this is just it. This ain't attacking Bronny. It's unbelievable he's even out on the court given his cardiac arrest, right? That he had.
Right.
It's an incredible story.
Right.
But let's be honest. If this was anybody else and you were averaging 5 points in college on a bad basketball team and you had shooting 37% from the field, nobody would even be asking why you were in a mock draft anyway. Am I right?
No, you're right. You're right. But I think I'm not mad at Bron for taking up for his son. I'm not even mad for him for pushing his son to get to the league. It is what it is. He has that power right now. He has that power to project his son to be, wherever he thinks he feels like he is. But, the fact of the matter is Bron hasn't had a great year. And you mentioned the cardiac arrest part of it. Just to see him back playing is a blessing, right?
Yeah, it is a blessing. And it's not about Bronny, so to speak. But my point, Lindsey, is you can't have it both ways. No, you can't tell the media that he could be playing for the Lakers now, okay? So you're putting him out in the mainstream, in the media consciousness, right? And then when it's not going good, to say, let the kids play. Why are you bothering my son? You can't do that.
But that's the parental part of him. protecting his son. You're right. You can't have it both ways. But in this instance, Bron wants to protect his son, and he's not, having the type of season that a projected first-round pick would have right now. And so, Bronny, he wants it both ways. Rob, let him laugh.
Hey, all right, he can have it both ways, but people going to push back. People like Rob Parker going to push back.
Of course.
Because that's what I do. And you know what? If Bronny can make it to the league, more power to him.
Right.
But
So, Rob, what's the difference in all these coaches when they were hiring their sons and their sons are becoming coaches in the NBA? What's the difference?
Because there's a difference, and you know this. Out on the court, it's the ultimate. You know whether somebody belongs on the court, and office jobs and all these other things are subjective.
Right.
Okay, we saw that in Jacksonville with Urban Meyer, right, with Tim Tebow. That you don't, Lindsey, if you don't measure up, the people in the locker room know that. Am I right?
Right.
You ain't never been on no team. Tell me you've been on a team that guy don't deserve to be in the NBA, and it was somebody's son they put on the team. You ain't never played with nobody like that.
No, you're right. You're right. Now, honestly though, I actually watching Bronny play.
Now I was going to ask you, give me your critique.
I was always a fan because I thought as a young kid he played the right way, and when he started really exploding athletically, and I just saw his ability, I was a fan. I was like, dude, he's good. Like, he's really good.
He's not great though. Can we say that? I'm not saying he's good, but he's not great, Lindsey. And I think that's what people. When you start talking about being a lottery pick or a first-round pick, you got to be a creme de la creme. You're talking about 5 points and playing defense. That doesn't normally get you drafted.
Not
this
anymore.
League. Okay.
Look at the drafts, the past drafts. There haven't been just a clear-cut number one guy or top 10 guys. Think about it. It's not like it used to be.
Yeah, but you got to show me a guy who gets drafted in the first round averaging 5 points in college. If you can show me another guy, then I'll buy it. I'm just keeping it real, Lindsey. You can't give me one guy who was drafted in the first round averaging 5 points in college.
No, well, Darko was averaging 8. He got drafted number 2.
Yeah, but he was 4. How old was he? He was 8. He was 17 when he got drafted in Europe. You got to admit that.
Yeah, he was 18 years
17
old.
years old, because I remember he had they gave him a pass that he was 17. Go ahead.
Right. But he will be scrutinized, and Bron is not having a great a season thus far. But the team is not good. Their team is not good at USC. They're all around bad right now. So I think that has something to do with. I think him having the medical issues had a lot to do with his slow start right now. But I think he'll get better, and I'm not saying how much better he'll get. Will he get to the point where he justifies being a first-round pick or a second-round pick? Who knows? Will LeBron use his authority to say, I want to play with my son, to force someone to taking him? Who knows? That could happen.
I agree with that. I think that he's going to come out Bronny this year. I really believe that, and LeBron will want to play with him because
of course.
His clock is ticking. LeBron, let's just face it, 20 years, you just keep – the clock is ticking. He can't wait for Bronny for 2 years. He could get hurt, Lindsey. A lot of stuff can happen between now and waiting for Bronny to fully develop.
Yeah, I mean, he's on borrowed time now, especially – and I don't even know if him playing with Bronny necessarily means that he's still trying to win another chip. That just means he wants to play with his son.
Right, he wants to do something special and unique.
Right.
And he doesn't – he doesn't impact winning like he used to. Even the good numbers he puts up, the Lakers don't win all the time, even with his good numbers.
No.
So it is different.
Yeah, no, it's different. You're asking one of the greats that has dominated for so long to still lead a team. At this point in his career, it's tough. He has to have a better supporting cast if they want to compete for a championship, and I just don't think they have it this year.
And for people who don't know, Lindsey was a first-round pick. He was the 10th pick overall in the 1993 draft from Jackson State. Hello, is this on?
I love.
To be able to be a number one pick from Jackson State, Lindsey, right?
Yeah, definitely. And I was talking to Carlos Rogers the other day because he was from Tennessee State, and I think Carlos was like an 11th pick or 12th, something like that. We were just going through how many HBCU players have been drafted in the lottery, and it's a slim group of us. It's not a lot of us.
No doubt.